Which of these drugs do you think is most addictive? Alcohol? Cannabis? Cocaine? Heroin? Crack? No. The nicotine contained in tobacco is the most addictive drug known to mankind.
Worldwide, billions of people smoke. Smoking-related disease like heart disease, stroke, chronic lung disease, cancer of lungs, larynx, esophagus, mouth and bladder cause 4 billion deaths globally. For the majority of smokers, both physically and psychologically, addictive nature of tobacco products make quitting difficult. Part of nicotine hold on smokers is believed to be doing its effect on tobacco levels, which are associated with positive feelings. Let's hear the story how nicotine became the part of our lifestyle.
Nicotine. We can trace the entire tobacco phenomenon back to a single moment in 1561, when Jean-Nicot de Villemain, a young French ambassador, went to dinner at a friend's house during his diplomatic stint in Lisbon and was shown a garden plant from Brazil that apparently had incredible healing properties. Excitedly, he came back to Paris with the new herb which he believed had already been proven to cure ailments of all kinds. At the royal court, he urged Catherine de Médicis' son to take snuff, which was pulverized tobacco leaves, to cure his migraines. It must have worked, because the new fad soon caught on and spread from Paris to the rest of Europe. Linnaeus is alleged to have named the genus of the tobacco plant Nicotiana in honor of the diplomat. When the chemical compound nicotine was finally isolated, it too was named after the man who left an interesting dual legacy to French culture.
International treaty proposed by WHO was signed by 170 countries limiting tobacco intake. This opened various alternative methods of nicotine intake such as nicotine patches and gums. Most of the individuals who tried to quit smoking have turned to the alternative methods of nicotine patches and gums. However, many of the users who try to follow the protocol tend to overuse these alternatives due to increased nicotine cravings. In the market, nicotine patches are available in the preparations of 7 mg, 14 mg and 21 mg, and nicotine gums in preparations of 2 mg and 4 mg.
Although nicotine can interact with a variety of receptors in numerous tissues, as we will see, it is its interaction with specific receptors in the brain that creates the dependence. Within seconds, nicotine is delivered to millions of neurons in the central nervous system. Here, within the midbrain, nicotine interacts with the alpha-4 beta-2 nicotinic acetylcholine receptors. Acetylcholine is the natural ligand for these receptors. However, nicotine, also an acetylcholine receptor agonist, has a higher affinity for the alpha-4 beta-2 receptors. Located on postsynaptic neurons, these receptors are comprised of 2 alpha-4 and 3 beta-2 subunits that form a channel for transporting ions through the membrane. When 2 molecules of nicotine or another ligand engage binding sites within the receptor, the ion channel is activated. Looking into the receptor, we see that it is closed, but activation by ligand triggers internal rods to open the channel for the passage of calcium, sodium, and potassium ions. This initiates electrical impulses, generating an action potential. This signal is rapidly transmitted down the axon to the reward area of the brain. Here, the impulses stimulate the release of neurotransmitters, including dopamine. Dopamine triggers additional signaling events that stimulate the reward circuit, generating short-lived feelings of well-being, improved mood, and increased attention. Nicotine is eliminated rather rapidly, causing dopamine levels to decline. The result, a craving for more nicotine. Over time, these and other downstream changes contribute to a stronger need for nicotinic stimulation to achieve the rewards of smoking.
Nicotine primarily affects the heart and central nervous system, regardless of the amount you use. Too much nicotine can lead to toxicity. Symptoms may include extreme fatigue, dizziness, anxiety, nausea, increased blood pressure, arrhythmia, dehydration, loss of appetite, lack of coordination, vomiting, blurred vision, headache, abdominal pain.
Hi, good morning, doctor.
Yeah, good morning. Please have a seat.
Thank you.
What is your name?
My name is Ombir Sani.
So, what seems to be your problem?
Doctor, I have having problem with like headache, dizziness, and sometimes like occasional like blood vision. So
Okay, you mean the blood vision, huh?
yeah.
Okay. So, have you been smoking? Do you smoke?
Doctor, I used to smoke for 5 years, but I stopped recently, like 3 months ago, and I use only some nicotine patches and gums.
So, how many patches or gums you take in a day?
Doctor, I used to take 790 patches with gums, few gums daily, but now these days I'm taking only four patches.
Okay, so I think you have a case of a nicotine addiction. So you should stop taking the patches and the gums because it can lead you to depression and even a coma in the worst situations. So for now, I'll be just prescribing you a few drugs. This can help you to an extent, to get over your nicotine addiction. And I want you to exercise daily and try to avoid the stressful situations. Okay. And lastly, I will suggest you to a counseling group. Okay, you should contact them as soon as possible.
Varenicline, competitive inhibitor of nicotine. Bupropion hydrochloride reduces the effect of nicotinic binding by blocking the reuptake of dopamine.
Okay, so these are your prescribed drugs. I hope you recover soon and get back to the checkup after 4 weeks.
Withdrawal symptoms include the following: difficulty sleeping, always being jumpy and apprehensive, having trouble concentrating, possibly feeling depressed, being easily irritated, having constant cravings to have another cigarette, plus an increased appetite and desire for food. Thus, before you ultimately stop smoking, you should first have an idea of how to fight these withdrawal symptoms. Otherwise, you might just be setting yourself up for failure.
Caffeine is a naturally occurring drug and the world's most popular psychoactive substance. It functions as a stimulant that's largely removed from euphoria and other recreational effects. It's usually legal and is used in various forms, including tea, coffee, and soda. The effects of a drug will vary for each user, so the most I can provide is a general overview of the effects. The positive effects include bronchodilation, improved mental and physical performance, stimulation, reduced boredom, and mood elevation. Among the possible negative effects are increased blood pressure, vasoconstriction, acute dehydration, increased heart rate, and jaw tension. Also, with larger amounts, anxiety, insomnia, jitteriness, and reduced coordination may appear.
Large amount of caffeine intake is seen among students in the form of energy drinks. Up to 400 mg of caffeine a day appears to be safe for healthy adults. That's roughly the amount of caffeine in 4 cups of brewed coffee, 10 cans of cola, or 2 energy short drinks. Caffeine does alleviate or reduce drowsiness. With physical performance, the drug can improve power output, endurance, and other factors of aerobic and anaerobic activities. Depending upon the source of caffeine, the effect of caffeine can vary due to the presence of other stimulants. At high enough doses, all of the negative effects like shaking, jaw clenching, aggravation, arrhythmia, abdominal pain, vomiting can occur.
Caffeine was only isolated a couple hundred years ago, but it has been used in plant sources for millennia. Chocolate use may date back to 1900 BCE. There are unreliable stories of tea being used as far back as 2700 BCE, though it's at least been drunk since 200 BC. Over the years, it's been found in dozens of plants, among which are coffee plants, kola nuts, yerba mate, guarana, and Camellia sinensis, the source of tea. When taken too late, caffeine can disrupt a normal mechanism used to induce sleep, so you should avoid taking large amounts late in the evening. It may cause a crash in energy when it wears off, particularly with higher doses. When used orally, caffeine lasts for 3 to 5 hours. It has an onset of 5 to 30 minutes and is strongest 1 to 3 hours after administration. It functions as a CNS stimulant. It largely provides its effects by working as an antagonist at adenosine receptors. By blocking those receptor sites, adenosine is no longer able to trigger a cascade of effects that normally result in drowsiness. The antagonism also ends up increasing respiration, causing vasoconstriction, and other things. Beyond getting rid of drowsiness, caffeine also provides stimulation through its adenosine antagonism. It's able to increase dopamine, glutamate, and other chemicals that can contribute to stimulation. It's not a dopamine agonist, but it does affect dopamine binding, since some adenosine receptors are part of complexes that include dopamine receptors. Caffeine has effects on the acetylcholine system through the inhibition of an enzyme that normally breaks down acetylcholine, and it can stimulate the release of acetylcholine. On top of all those actions, it stimulates the release of epinephrine, and at high doses can inhibit GABA, which may be connected to anxiety, insomnia, and negative cardiovascular effects. When deaths occur, they usually involve seizure and cardiac arrhythmia. Depending on your intake, withdrawal includes varying levels of headache, lack of concentration, irritability, and fatigue. Caffeine reliably improves mental and physical performance at moderate doses, though high doses may negate some of the effect.
Yes, tell me what's bothering you.
Doctor, I've been having, for the past few days, I've been having stomach ache and sleepless nights.
Okay. So what do you normally eat or drink during these days?
I usually eat rice with chicken, vegetables, and I drink a cup of coffee and for late night studies, I drink energy drink.
Okay, so how many bottles of energy drink
Normally,
do you take in a day?
Yeah, normally in a day I take 4 to 5 bottles a day, and now I've even increased to 2 cups of coffee a day.
It seems like you may have consumed too much of caffeine according to your daily lifestyle. So I would suggest you to please stop taking the food and the beverages which have the caffeine contents, and you should drink plenty of water for your abdomen pain, and I'll just prescribe you a few pain relievers like ibuprofen. Okay.
To reduce addiction to caffeine, there are two methods: weaning method, which is gradual decrease in dependence, and cold turkey method, sudden decrease in dependence. There is one more alternative, rutacarpine, which is a component found in herbal tea.